You've obviously changed a lot in your years as a coach. How can you even compare your feelings today to your first game coaching in the W here?
I remember just being so excited, a little nervous. My first game here, and I was young, so just taking over after a legend, certainly with Lynn. The expectations that we had, certainly I was very, very nervous. We did not start that year very well. Certainly remember that as well. But yeah, age, experience, all the other things. There's a lot of excitement and buzz around today. Like, I'm really excited about, game day and opening day of the season and, seeing this team in live action. But I also have a different perspective in that I understand, that this is game one of 44, that it's going to be a process, that we have to keep the main thing, and we got to focus on one possession at a time.
Yeah, Dawana is, I think, 8 points away from moving to third on the all-time scoring list. Just what does that say to her longevity and just her high-level play for 15 years? You
guys, I felt like every game last year we were saying Dawana Bonner moves into 12th, Dawana Bonner moves into 11th, Dawana Bonner moves into top 5. It's really incredible, and not just her longevity, but her efficiency and how good she's been her entire career. And she gets lost in the shuffle. Right, she's played with a lot of great players. She's played with Diana, she played with BG, she played with AT, now she's playing with Caitlin. And the consistent piece has been Dawana Bonner, and she's quietly just gone about her business. We tell her all the time, like, you deserve the limelight, right? Like, you deserve the recognition. She doesn't love it. It's not really her personality, but what she's been able to do and accomplish in this league, the way she's been able to go about doing it, to make herself available every year, nearly every game, that's hard to do. And she deserves a lot of credit for what she's been able to accomplish, for how she's been able to do it. And, she's a Hall of Famer.
Steph, what was going through your mind as you pull in today and you see this city light up and all the new decorations for your team in game one here today?
Just how thankful and grateful I am to be here in this moment. I was texting with Kelly and Lynn and Amber last night, and just thinking about the Trailblazers, right? Thinking about the Duns and Kelly starting with the league from day one, and all the players who put our league in position to launch and then to be successful, and then to hear that there were people lined up for the team store at 9:30 in the morning, and to see all the folks that were out and about, early today in fever jerseys, and it's just I'm really grateful for this moment. Really excited about our opportunity, and then you get down in the tunnel and you get in the locker room and you get in the office, and then it's about business. So it's really managing the fact that I am thankful and grateful and excited with the fact that we have a job to do.
Steph, most players have to go overseas. Hello.
How are you?
Fabulous.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How much of an advantage is it for Caitlin that she was able to pretty much stay off her feet this off season? Obviously, she was in the weight room, but she didn't have to go to Afghanistan to play basketball.
Yeah, it's huge for her. Number one, because she needed the rest, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The hardest thing for a rookie is to go through a college season, and a long college season if you make a deep run as they did, and then straight into the WNBA. And so it's hard. So I'm thankful for her, and it was really good for her to be able to just get a break, to be able to breathe, to be able to certainly address some things in the weight room and on the court, but to step away mentally. I think it was really good. Now, there are some challenges with that, in that when you haven't played basketball for 6 or 7 months, even if you're playing pickup, timing, rhythm is different. It takes some time to get into that. We've seen that throughout the course of my 25, 26 years in the WNBA, where it takes players a little bit of time to get back into that game rhythm. But I think it benefited her tremendously.
Played at Seeger High School, obviously, Indiana ties.
Do you know where that is?
I do, because I used to cover high school sports here, so I'm always around. But going from that to here, how much did the game change or stay the same? And also, how has Caitlin kind of, raised just the awareness around the game from all over the sport across the state?
The game's changed a lot. It's faster. Players are better than they've ever been. They're more athletic than they've ever been. You know, the game is obviously in good hands with these young players who have they've known nothing but the WNBA and professional sports. So the game is different. The players are different. But the passion and competitive spirit is what it's about, right? Like being elite at what you do, putting yourself in position to be the best that you can be as an individual and collectively as a team. So, you know, for me obviously I say it all the time. I mean, to be able to grow up in Indiana, play high school ball and college ball and professional basketball and coach professional basketball here in my home state, like I don't take it for granted. We love basketball. Like it's the epicenter. And then you add, you know, a player like Caitlin who comes in, and really I feel like a year ago was truly the first time that the college fan base transitioned to the WNBA and following their favorite players. Now, some did, but as a whole, college fans became WNBA fans, and we've been waiting for that to happen. There had been a disconnect of some sorts once they go away. I hope that doesn't change because of, you know, transfer portal and play, because you really develop relationships in college with these players and seeing these players. And so I hope that doesn't change because of all that. But again, you know, the tidal wave of generational talent, of new fans coming into the WNBA, and then you see those passionate little boys and little girls who are coming to games who weren't coming to games before. And I see the ones now who are adults who came when I was playing that are now bringing their kids, and that's what it's all about. I mean, the reality is we all want to win. But for us, growing new fan bases, celebrating with lifelong fans, you know, integrating young fans, that's really what it's about.
Hey Coach, I guess just to follow up on that really quickly, do you have a theory of why the college fan bases didn't traditionally carry to the pros?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No. I'm not even trying to speculate.
Yeah. And then basketball question. What are you expecting from the Sky defensively?
Well, I mean, they've got a lot of great pieces, a talented roster. You know, Tyler's done a really good job already. You know, I expect them to be aggressive, to be in our passing lanes, to make things difficult, to be disruptive. You know, they're not going to just come out and allow us to move the ball in the way that we want to. Obviously, they have great size. So funneling us into that size and the decisions that we make once we get there is going to be really important for us. You know, and obviously not just defensively, but what he's doing on the offensive end with their team, playing faster, shooting a lot of threes. You know, their bigs are moving around the floor a lot. You know, it's going to be a challenge for us. You know, they're a really good team and they're playing great basketball, and they've got a lot of new pieces, and I think Tyler's using them really well.
You were describing yourself as a sort of an older, more mature version of a coach from the first time around, but at the same time, coming into a new season, in a new circumstance, was there anything different about going to bed last night and thinking ahead to today? Anything you want to check off and say, hey, tomorrow's the day and I'm ready to go, or anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, you know, my kids came into town, so it was nice to be able to hang with them, and you know, they were playing chess and I was watching film, and that's kind of the nature, the redundancy of a coach's life at home, and there's something calming to me about that, having my family around, having my kids around. You know, they were very young the last time I did this, and so now they're older and they get it and they understand, so there's something very calming about that for me. I was very excited, you know, in practice yesterday. It was like a shoot around for us because we didn't have one this morning, but just like, hey, it's finally game day. Just like players, I mean, coaches, like, we love practice, but we've had 2 weeks of practice. We're ready to play.
Steph, we've talked a lot about how Caitlin's adjusted to some of the new bigs she has. I wonder if you could talk to me specifically about vets like Dewana and Natasha Howard, how they've adjusted to having her as a point guard.
Yeah, I think the biggest adjustment is just the speed that these guys play with. You know, I would say especially for DB, knowing that we played a slower system in Connecticut, you know, that she was more used to that, adjusting to the speed, adjusting to the fact that, you know, shots are going to go up quicker. You're not really always able to predict when that's going to happen. I think that's going to come with time, you know, certainly be able to do that. With Tosh, you know, she's played with, I don't want to say players like Caitlin, certainly, but she's played with players who have the ball in their hands a lot. You know, certainly when you think about her playing in Seattle, her playing in New York, her playing in Dallas. So Tosh knows really how to play off of them, Tasha's sneaky in her ways of like recognizing drags in transition and not trying to get out of the way, but sort of using that to our advantage. You know, she's finding her ability to get to the rim and knowing that she's going to be found. She's finding her ability to get out in transition and get rim runs and knowing that she's going to get opportunities. So when you play with a player like Caitlin, you got to be ready on both ends, right? She can take the shot, and she can find you when you're not ready for it. So I think those are the biggest adjustments for those guys. But they've all played with great players. Now they're just a lot older and they're a lot younger.
Coach, I saw Jenny Busek was at practice the other day, and Caitlin's obviously been at Fever games, and even going back to 2012, like Paul George and those guys were at your games. Just how have you seen the connection, the synergy between the Fever and the Pacers? It feels from afar pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is. You know, I think back to those days, you know, in the 2012 time frame, and, you know, throughout the course, I know it's been difficult over the course of the last, I don't know how many years, because the Fever have been in and out of the building. That makes it tough. But there is synergy. I mean, Indianapolis is a small town feel, right? It's a small town vibe. It's, you know, they say it's small market, but small market means better relationships oftentimes, right? And the synergy between the two is there. And certainly we respect everything that the Pacers are doing and are excited about, you know, these opportunities. I think it's unique when you look at having a point guard like Tyrese and having a point guard like Caitlin in the state of Indiana, the state that loves basketball, the passion that they play with. You know, it really epitomizes the pride of basketball in Indiana. You know, Jenny and I have been friends for a long time. We played against each other in the WNBA. She grew up in Nashville. You know, her mom lived near where I lived when I first moved down there. So it's also awesome to be able to bounce things off of Jenny, Jim Boylan, who was here when I was here before, and Rick, to be able to bounce things back and forth off of those guys, because I feel like we're similar styles of play, and that the fans really embrace that.
How do you go about preparing for game one compared to other games? Do you focus more on yourself? Do you watch their preseason games, or do you watch an Aces tape to see some of the stuff Tyler was working with them? Like, how do you,
Yeah, I think we have a little bit more time for game one, so we get to use like, you know, 2 or 3 days instead of, you know, a day in between. So it's really a combination, continuing to work on us as we taper back, you know, working on half court stuff, working on things that we think we might see based on the film, based on, yes, certainly some things that the Aces have done. We know Tyler's going to mold things the way that he needs to mold them for this team. And then, you know, watching the film. You know, what are they doing offensively? What are they doing defensively? What would we do if we were in that position, trying to anticipate a little bit more and get a lot of shots up. We haven't had a lot of opportunity to practice in the arena, so being able to get a lot of shots up, the depth perception is different. I think we noticed that in our preseason game, so being able to get out there and get comfortable in the arena too.